Alright guys, what I wanted to do today was I wanted to do sort of like a card list slash card set review of D-BT05, Triumphant Return of the Brave Heroes. I'm going to be doing this by nation, going down from 10th anniversary all the way down to commons. And I'm just going to start with the way this is listed out here in the card list for the Vanguard website, from like Dragon Empire all the way to Stoicheia. So yeah, let's get into this. Our first card is Dragonic Overlord the End. Dragonic Overlord the End's ability is Continuous Vanguard Circle. During your turn, if your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's draft check cannot be decreased from card effects, and it gets power plus 5,000. And its second ability is Auto Vanguard. Once per turn, at the end of battle, this unit attacked, cost count +1, pitch 2 cards from your hand, stand this unit, and it gets drive -1. If you have Overlord in Soul, this is obviously just a very free attack, free Vanguard restand, free extra drive checks. Well, not free, but free in terms of you don't lose anything, because you're going to get those drive checks back because it's not losing any drive checks. So technically, you could use this ability if you have 0 cards in hand and not lose anything, because you're going to drive check 2, you're going to discard 2, you're going to restand, and then drive check 2 again. So that's what I mean by this is a pretty free effect. It is CB1, but that's the as far as I know, the Overlord deck really doesn't counterblast all that much. It has a bunch of counterchargers, and it can pretty much manage the counterblast. So overall, very good and playable card. Going on to the second 10th anniversary triple rare for Dragon Empire, a Burning Horn Dragon. Burning Horn Dragon's abilities are auto. When this unit is placed on rearguard, cost counterblast 1. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card of Overlord in its card name. Put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal a card, countercharge 1. And its second auto ability is auto rearguard. When your Vanguard with Overlord in its name attacks, this unit gets +5 to end of turn. This is not a once per turn auto ability, so yes, it is stackable. If you swing with your Overlord Vanguard twice, it's going to get 5k for each swing. If you flip the over trigger and swing with your Overlord Vanguard 3 times, it's going to get 5k for each swing, which means it's going to get 15k in total. And this is a very good search card in general. It's very rare that Bushiroad prints cards like these, to whereas it doesn't punish you from whiffing the top 7 search, since we don't really have any, at least in D format, we don't have any cards that just say pay cost, just take the card from your deck and add it to your hand, or take the card from your deck. Well, we have cards that take the card from your deck and add it to field, but not hand. So it's a very good card. It doesn't punish you if you miss the search. And moving on to the triple rares, we starting with Deepening Night Tamayura. It has an auto Vanguard ability. At the beginning of your ride phase, you get all your front row units get +5k until the end of turn. This is an ability given to the player. So if you Persona Road over Tamayura, you'll still get the 10k. You'll still get the 5k and the 10k. So you'll be getting 15k to the front row instead of just 10k to the front row. So you won't lose the ability if you ride over Tamayura, because this is an effect targeting the player, which is you. Its second auto ability is when this unit attacks, cost counterblast 1 and perform one of the following. Choose a card from your soul, call it to rearguard. Choose a card with Rirami and in its name from your soul, and choose a card with Rarami in its name from your soul, and call them to rearguards. So you can either call anything you want out of soul, or you could call Rirami and Rarami to get 2 extra attacks instead of just getting 1 extra attack if you're calling to the front row. And then it has Glitter. This card is Glitter that seeks to fire regales. None of these abilities are, well, at least in terms of its attack ability, it's not once per turn, so it means it works very well with the Dragon Empire over trigger, to whereas if you are able to restand Tamayura, you can just get 1 to 2 extra attacks on top of the 4 to 5 attacks that you were already doing, not counting your extra Vanguard swing. And its 5k ability just makes it like better in the, it just facilitates its second ability, to whereas you're not solely reliant on, I need that Persona ride or else these attacks aren't hitting. So Very good card. Uh, Considered the best of the new ride lines in this set. Considered the best new deck out of the set. Period. I still think that's yet to be seen. It is a very strong deck, very strong grade 3 abilities. I just feel like, you should give the other nation slash ride lines more credit. But on to the second triple rare, you have Dragritter Girl of the Flame Blossoms, Relina. Relina's abilities are Act Rearguard. If you do not have a Momoke token, cost Counterblast 1, call up to 1 Momoke token to Rearguard. And then its second ability is Glitter Rorawa. Activate if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Rora in its card name. When this unit attacks, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your tokens to the same column as this unit, and this unit gets the power of that unit until the end of that battle. Includes increased values. So this is a very good card for Rona because it just lets it achieve 4 attacks, because the Momoke token can attack from the back row if it has... I believe the only restriction is if it has Relena in the front. We're going to be looking at, like, because it's a 0 common token, so it's going to be all the way at the bottom. But I believe the only restriction is you need Relena. It could be that you also need Rorona as your Vanguard for the attack, but it's very versatile in the fact that if they do get a damage trigger on your turn, you can still just boost with the token and basically get double power. Get like a double powered boost for 1 Soul Blast. Because it's going to count the power of the boost, then it's going to count the added power on top of that. So this can just make a really big number outside of just creating an extra attack for you. So, good. It's a really good card in my opinion. I know the Rorona deck is lacking in some areas, but these are more or less the first wave of support for a lot of these new ride lines, so I don't really expect anything to be too fleshed out. In my opinion, of course. Moving on to the double rares, we have Perforate Burner Dragon. This is a support card for Overlord. Its auto ability is, well, technically it's generic, so its auto ability is when it's discarded from your hand during your battle phase, put this card into your soul, choose one of your units, and it gets 5k to the end of the turn. There's really not much to say. This is obviously meant to synergize with Overlord to discard for your restands. It gives 5k to any unit, so if you just need to reach over thresholds, your Vanguard's going to be base 18. If they got a defensive trigger, you want to make sure it swings over defensive. You could give the 5k to your Vanguard, give it to the rear guards. It's a good card overall. Definitely playable. And on to the next double rare is Stealth Fiend Forktail. Its ability is auto. When this unit is placed on rearguard, you may look at the top 7 cards of your deck. If you do, choose up to 1 normal unit with stealth in its card name or glitter from among them, put it into your soul, and shuffle your deck. So this is very clearly meant to be used with Tamayura. It's just very, like, there's nothing really much else to say. You obviously want to run 4 of this card to filter out your deck, to fill up your soul, since Tamayura does in fact call from the soul, and it can call anything. The glitter is for the Rirami and Rarami. They have glitter abilities if you have a Tamayura Vanguard, but it is definitely a very good support staple card for that deck archetype. And then we have Acute Dragon Earphallus. Its auto rearguard ability is when it attacks or boosts Soul Blast 1, it gets 5k power into the end of that battle for each of your other grade 1 or less rearguards. I think this is supposed to be for the Rorona deck, because it does make like grade 0 plant tokens that it can like just swarm the board with plant tokens. But I do believe Momosuke eats the tokens for power, so I'm not sure how good this card is, and I'm pretty sure there's also other cards in the deck that Soul Blast. I don't think you're getting too much bang for your buck from the Soul Blast 1 ability. It would have been more helpful if it went to Soul at the end of battle, or like if it, like, I don't know. Not the most playable card, but not too terrible either. It's one of those you just need to find the right situation to use it. On to the heal trigger for Dragon Empire. This heal trigger's ability is auto when placed on Guardian. If your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets shield plus 15k into the end of that battle. Activate if this battle is the second attack this turn or more. That's confusing. Okay, so it's talking about in terms of that specific unit, I believe so. If your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, yeah, okay. Very solid. It actually hits quite a few decks. I personally would not run more than 2 copies of this card. I believe maxing out on these cards aren't really the best strategy right now because there aren't really that. It's like a 50-50 on restanding units. Not every deck has restanding units. There are quite a few decks that do multi-attack but don't multi-attack with the same unit. But then again, there are quite a few decks that do, like Bruce, for example, Flagberg. Those are 2 best examples. Even Overlord in the same set attacks with the same unit. So I do believe that this does have a place in decks, but I would say that place is not at more than 2 copies, if not just 1 copy. Moving on to the rares. Motivate Stealth Rogue Tsumugi. Or I'm terrible with these names. I'm sorry, guys. It's auto. When this unit's placed on rearguard, cost Soul Blast 1. Choose a normal unit with stealth in its card name or glitter from your drop and put it into your soul. It's really not a bad card at all. I don't like that it costs a Soul Blast, but I get it at the same time. It's just kind of, you're Soul Blasting, more or less, you're Soul Blasting a useless card to feed your soul with combo pieces like the Rirami and Rarami, or any of the other stealth cards that you require in soul. Because I do know that there's a stealth grade 2 that when you call it out from your Vanguard's ability, it gets plus 10, I believe, but it's a 9k. So it synergizes with the deck. Definitely a playable card. I don't believe a lot of people are playing this card, if at all, at low copies, but definitely a playable card for the Tamayura strategy. And speaking of, we have the grade 2 for Tamayura for the ride line, Festival of Burning Tamayura. Its auto ability is, when placed by riding from in the Calm Sunlight Tamayura, choose up to 1 card of Rirami or Rarami in its card name from your drop zone and put it into your hand. And then it has Glitter, Seeks to Fire Regalias. This is a ride line card. It's an auto include if you're playing that strategy. It doesn't have any main deck abilities. It only has the when it's placed for the Vanguard ride line abilities, which I am kind of sad about. It kind of like ruins some slots, or it kind of like wastes potential slots that none of the ride lines, except for I believe the blasters, have Vanguard rearguard abilities in this set, which is kind of disappointing, to be honest. But obviously auto include for that strategy. And then this just kills so many decks in the format. Is this first of the commons? No, we're still in the rares. A Fleeting Shine that lights life. This is a blitz order. Its ability is play cost Soul Blast 2 if you have a Vanguard of Tamayura in its card name. Choose one of your Vanguards and it gets continuous Vanguard. All your opponent's front row units get power minus 10k until the end of turn. So this is just very strong because there are so many multi-attack decks in the format right now. And especially this is very strong against restanding multi-attack decks like Bruce, like Flagberg, like Bastion. What's another restanding? Overlord. I'm gonna keep using it because Overlord comes out in this set. So this is in the same set hate for restanding units because it's gonna minus them 10k until the end of the turn. It's very good, a definite staple for the strategy. Especially playtesting the deck, I do notice that it doesn't really have that much shield. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's what it seems like to me. The deck doesn't really have that much shield, so this card is more of like a compensation for that fact. but definitely a really good card, a very strong card that hits a lot of decks in the format right now. And then finally, hitting the commons is Excavation Dragon Barodignil. Its ability is auto rearguard. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked, cost. Put this unit into your soul, choose one of your rearguards, and it gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. This is a very good generic card that I've seen Tamayura decks play, and it's just extra power to make sure that your rears are able to at least swing over your opponent's Vanguard. Yeah, it can only be rear guards, but yeah, a very good and playable card. Not much to say here. And this is the grade 2 I was talking about, Stealth Dragon Hanatsurasu. Auto, when it's placed on rearguard by your Vanguard's ability, it gets 10k to the end of the battle. So I did see people experiment with this. It's not a bad card in my opinion at all. If anything, it really gives you a better turn 3 play, because on turn 3 you're not really gaining any powers. So more or less you combo this with the dragon and you can get like two to like 3 poke attacks and then like 1 strong attack with this card. But definitely a solid card. And then we have Rumbling Sheer Dragon. This is auto when this unit intercepts if your Vanguard's grade is grade 3 or greater. It gets plus 10k shield until the end of battle. I don't like this card at all because it only gets the 10k shield when it intercepts, which means it can't be sniped. And I don't like it because it's 9k, which means it really doesn't make magic numbers. If you put an 8k behind it, it'll be 17. Even if you stack triggers on it, it will only go up to 27. It doesn't make magic numbers at all against 10k Vanguards. So I don't like this card at all. I feel like this would have been a very kind of interesting playable tech card if it was 10k, but they decided to make these types of cards in this set 9k. And then moving on to the grade 1 for Tamayura. Auto, when this unit is placed on by riding from Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit, Tamayura, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 card with Rirami or Rarami in its card name, or a fox art from among them. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck. And then it has glitter that seeks to fire regalias. This is extremely good. Obviously, it's part of the ride line. It's an auto include, but it's extremely good because you have it can search Rirami, Rarami, or the fox art card. So if you're running all those cards at 4, you have 12 targets in the deck. It is almost guaranteed not to whiff. You would literally have 12 targets in the deck. And then this synergizes with the grade 2 of the ride line, because if you just pitch Rirami or Rarami for your ride cost, you could just get it back and your ride cost is free. So very strong. Obviously an auto include, not much to say there. And then we have this grade 1. Its continuous rearguard and guardian circle ability is, if your soul has a grade 3, it gets plus 2k power and 5k shield. Not really playable because it is a 7k. I'm sure there'll be niches in the future, but it's one of those situations to where this card would have been more experimental / playable if they actually, printed it with a good stat line. It's a 7k. It can't hit a grade 1 Vanguard by itself. It can't hit a grade 1 by itself. Most grade 1s are 8Ks. There are very few grade 1s that are not 8Ks. Most of them are bad. And the extra shielding is nice, but it's one of those abilities to where if you were going to give it this type of stat line, I just kind of wish it had intercept from the back row. But that's just me. Very middle of the pack card. Probably not going to play it. And then the grade 0 starter. If you went second, you get to draw a card. Not much to say there. You can use any grade 0 starter. Most of the time, they don't matter. This is just a rarity bump. Rarity bumps. Is there anything else? Okay. This is perfect. So, Momosuke. Act rearguard once per turn. Cost, retire 1 or more of your other rearguards, and it gets plus 5k power until the end of the turn for each unit retired for this cost. And then glitter, Rorona. Oh, so you do have to have Rorona. You have to have Rorona and Rodolina for it to be able to attack from the back row. Okay, all right then. So yeah, it's like I'm saying, like this is a very strong combo in terms of if your opponent gets a defensive trigger or if they get two defensive triggers instead of just two attacks, you could just make like a very big one attack. So yeah, good card. The deck kind of has to play it if they wants to make more than three attacks. And then I believe that's the last of the, yeah, these are all just rarity cards. That's the last of the cards for Dragon Empire. Moving on to Dark States, we start with Approaching Fang's Chaos. It's act Vanguard ability once per turn, cost Carablast 1, pitch card from hand. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose one card from among them, put it into your hand. Choose up to one unit from among them, call it to rearguard, and put the rest to your soul. And then it has the auto Vanguard ability. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if your soul has 8 or more cards of different card names, choose one of your rear guards, it gets plus 10 to the end of the turn. If your soul has 13 or more cards of different card names, it gets all your rear guards get plus 10 instead. All your rear guards get plus 10 instead. So it's not a bad card. Its first ability is not bad because you're counterblasting one, you're pitching one, you're looking at the top 3 cards of your deck, you're adding one to hand, and you're calling one to field. So you're minusing yourself by 1 to plus yourself 2. And then you're filling a card in your soul to try and complete the secondary ability, which gives 10k to the rear guards. Why it doesn't give 10k to itself, I don't know. I feel like it should have been able to give 10k to itself, because now that just means you always have to have a booster behind your Vanguard if you want your Vanguard to hit past 13 or 23 with a Persona Ride. The ability is not bad, but it feels a little lacking. And then of course it has the glitter seeks to fire regalias. Not as I feel like not as bad as interpreted, but certainly could have been better. And then we're going on to the Rirami and Rawami. Twin Direful Dolls Rirami. Auto, when it's placed on rearguard, if you have a rearguard with Rawami, its card name, cost. So bless 2, choose on your opponent's rearguards, put into their soul. And then Glitter Tamayura. When this unit is retired from guard, you can put it into your soul. And then Rawami is when it's placed on rearguard, if you have a rearguard with Rirami in its soul, in your rearguard, not soul. Cost. So blast 2, draw a card. And then Glitter Tamayura, when this unit's retired from guarding, you can put it into your soul. So obviously your deck is built around, or the Tamayura deck is built around these 2 cards. They're in like it's inherent to the strategy. I don't really think these cards are too good outside of Tamayura. I don't feel like there's any other decks in Dark States or Dragon Empire that can really utilize these cards. Maybe Eugene? Nah, that would just be really bad, to be honest. Yeah, there's really no other decks that could utilize them to their full extent as Tamayura. Obviously, their effects are not bad, and they are auto-includes in that deck. Going on to those are the triple rares. Going on to the double rares, Amazing Frost. This is a support card for Chaos. When this unit is placed on rearguard, cost. So blast 1, draw a card. Choose a card from your hand, put it to your soul. Then if your soul has 8 or more cards with different card names, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. If your soul has 10 or more cards with different card names, it gets plus 10 instead. I really wish this ability was that the power would stack. That if you had the 8 or more with different card names, it gets plus 5. And then if you had the 10 or more, it gets plus 10. But this is really not a bad card at all. Again, this is to support the Chaos strategy. So basically, if you have anything with extra names in your soul, you obviously soul blast that, draw a card, and then shove something from your hand that you don't have in soul. So yeah, very good support card. Auto include. Most likely you have to play this to try and get off that strategy. I don't really see this right now being played in any other decks, but there could quite possibly could be in the future. I could see Greedon playing this card very easily. But yeah, going down to the rest of the double rares, Steam Main Barney. This unit's ability is auto. When placed on rearguard from hand, they had to be from hand. Barrow Magnus, can't have any fun. Like always, had to be from hand. If your soul has 8 or more cards with different card names, cost Counterblast 1. Choose a grade 1 or less from your soul, call it to rearguard. If your soul has 10 or more cards with different card names, choose a grade 4 or less instead of a grade 1. It's a very good card. It's a card that turns into 2 cards. So this card can either be an attacker or a booster, and whatever it calls can also be an attacker or a booster. I would not knock this card at all outside of its playability in other archetypes, but this is clearly meant for Chaos. And then we move on to the heal. It does the same thing as the Dragon Empire heal. It gets plus 15 if the unit attacked 2 or more times this turn. So not much to say there. And then we're going on to the rares. The grade 2 of the Chaos Ride line, Quagmire of Solace, Chaos. When this unit's rode upon by approaching Fang's Chaos, Soul Charge 1. If the Soul Charge card was a trigger unit, draw a card. If it was a normal unit, choose 1 card from your soul and call it to rearguard. And then it has Glitter. Really not a bad ride line card at all. Either way, you're going to get either a +1 to hand or a +1 to board. And it could possibly facilitate rush plays, but not consistent in either. That's the one thing I don't like about it. It doesn't have consistency, but I do like that no matter what you soul charge, you do get the added benefit. Normal unit. Does that mean orders don't count? I don't think orders can't, so you probably can't play orders in this deck. Grade 1's Clumsy Assistant. Its ability is Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit boosts, if your soul has 5 or more cards, Counterblast 1, and it gets +10 to the end of that battle. Not a bad generic Dark States grade 1 at all. This is just one of those things where you gotta find the right strategy to where you could utilize this to its fullest. You can play this in Chaos, but then again, you have Barney that counterblasts, you have Chaos that already counterblasts. I believe the grade 3 Dual Nation card for Chaos also counterblasts for one of its abilities. But I'm sure this being as generic as it is, there will be a deck for it in the future that can fully abuse this 18k booster. And then the most typed card from Dark States out of the set is Flaming Pony. It has one simple skill, a Decreeper skill. Act Soul, bind this card, Soul Charge 2. Good in Chaos, good in Barrow Magnus. You can make an argument to play this in Greedon. You could definitely make an argument to play this in Greedon to help you get to the 10 soul, so you can get the +15 on your restand. You can even make an argument to play this in Bruce if you're playing more a soul charge heavy build of Bruce. A very good card all around. No complaints here. And then you have Amazement Magician. First of the commons. It has an auto ability on rearguard. When this unit attacks, you may soul charge 1. This is if we were in set 1 to set 2 meta, this card would be more playable just because it has the text of you may soul charge. But I feel like for a card like this, it's a little too late. It's a little too late. We're already in set 5. I would expect to be playing more impactful cards than Amazement Magician. Not a bad card, but sign of the times. And then moving on to Indicate Arrow Dragon. Indicate Arrow Dragon is auto. On place rearguard, reveal the top card of your deck. If there's no cards in your soul with the same card name as the revealed card, soul charge 1. So this is just really good for Dark States in general, because when you call this card to rearguard, you just basically get to scry the top card of your deck, and if you already have it in soul, it stays on top. So you know what you're gonna drive check. And if it's something that you don't want to drive check, you most likely have the ability to remove it from the top of your deck by soul charging or drawing it. So it's a very good card, a very unique card, in fact. I could see it being played in a number of strategies, maybe not right now, but quite possibly in the future. And then we have another one of these shield gain cards. This one is auto when it intercepts. If your soul has 5 or more cards, it gets plus 10k shield. Again, the problem with these cards is they are 9k vanillas by themselves before they intercept. That's the only ability they have, and it only works when they do intercept. Again, I feel like if it at least had a better stat line, then it would warrant to tech these types of cards in, but because their stat line is just so weak, there's really not much to say outside of that. And then we have the grade 1 for the Chaos Ride line in the Calm Street Chaos. Auto, when it's rode upon by Quagmire or Solace Chaos, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Put all normal units from among them into your soul and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So while this part of your ride line doesn't really plus you in any sense, it does help you reach your main strategy, which is the different names. It also filters your deck, because if you get a trigger and a non-trigger, then it's just going to put the non-trigger into your soul and then put the trigger on the bottom of your deck. The one thing I hate about that, though, is there is no shuffling in that I know of. There's no cards that shuffle the deck in dark states. So any triggers that you put on the bottom of the deck, they're gonna stay there. So I guess that's a negative of this ability, but this is either a Soul Charge 1, a Soul Charge 2, or quite potentially a Soul Charge none. Yeah, this ability is very lacking, to say the least. It would have been better if it was just a Soul Charge 2, or at least a Soul Charge 1. I could see an argument. Does the grade 2 need the grade 1 in the soul? No, it doesn't. I could see an argument for running Deep Stonker instead of this card. This card could potentially just be like, it does have high reward, but I feel like it also has high risk at the same time, because it could potentially be a Soul Charge none. And then we have the grade 0 for Chaos. And I believe these are just the hollows. Whoa. Yeah, these are just the hollows. There's no token. Funny, the heal doesn't have any shield. I know people have been looking for this card solely for that fact, that the misprint of no shield. I wonder if they're gonna errata that, or they're just gonna keep it like that. Knowing Bushy Road, they're probably gonna be lazy and just keep it like that. Moving on to the next nation, we are at Brandt Gate. So the first triple rare is Fountain of Knowledge Ava. Its act ability is Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 1, look at the top card of your deck equal to the number of research cards in your order zone. Choose up to 1 card from among them, put it into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And this unit gets power plus 5k till the end of turn. And then its second ability is Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, search your deck or hand for up to 1 card with Obscupid in its card name, call it to rear guard. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck. Oh, that's actually really good. I thought it could only search Obscupid from your deck. The fact that it can get it from your hand too it's actually very good. That facilitates extra attacks. I didn't know that. Ava can make 4 attacks. Oh, wow. I actually didn't know that. I thought Ava was just a 3-attack deck. Oh, Ava's a little bit better than I thought it was. Not gonna lie. With the... I know it has very, very little support. But a second wave, this deck can be very playable. And then it has Glitter for 5 regales. And then this is the triple rare dual nation card for Chaos. Cool-headed Executor Maki. Its auto ability is when it's placed on rearguard. Yeah, it's Counterblast. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards the same grade as the card Soul Blast and retire it. And then it has Glitter for Chaos. When your auto rearguard once per turn, when your Vanguard attacks, if your soul has 8 or more cards with different card names, stand this unit. And if you stood it, put this unit to your soul at the end of turn. Very good auto, like, staple card for Chaos. that not for the first ability, you might not even use this ability unless you're trying to get rid of pesky interceptors, but for the second ability alone, just like it gives the deck extra attacks instead of its main strategy of just hit you with 3 big lines. Now it can, I guess, unless you persona it, you could just like poke attack for like 13 or like 21, 23. Yeah, not the best, but I do feel like it's weird because of the way you have to build chaos. I'm really not sure if the comparison of Barrow Magnus does the deck justice or not. I know people have been making that comparison a lot to whereas versus what would you rather play, like Chaos or Barrow Magnus? Like Chaos just feels like discount Barrow Magnus. And in some aspects that is true, but I feel like Chaos has more versatility, hand sculpting slash deck velocity. I'm not sure, but I will definitely give the deck its fair trial. Moving on to the double rares, Perneathy Dragon. Act rearguard circle once per turn. Cost Soul Blast 1, draw a card. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. If your order zone has a set order, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of turn. Very good generic card for all Brandt Gate decks. Like almost every Brandt Gate deck plays a set order. Just a very good reusable drop and draw card that gains 5k on top of that. No complaints here. I could see Orphis playing this. I can see Ava playing this. I can even see what's her name, Snow playing this. Gravidia, maybe, yeah. Like literally all Brandt Gate decks can play this card. Not a bad card in any shape or form. And then the heal trigger, again, not much to say here about the heal. It's just the same. If the unit attacked 2 times or more, it gets plus 15k shield. And moving on, this is a double rare? You're kidding me. The experiment card is a double rare? I thought it was a rare. Oh, that's so bad. It's a set order auto. When this is put into your order zone, draw a card, choose a card from your hand, and discard it. If your order zone has 3 or more research cards, cost Soul Blast 1, choose on your opponent's rear guards, and bind it. This is the first, like, it doesn't retire, it binds. So this is like the first like binding of your opponent's units in D, which is very interesting, but also at the same time, this card sucks. Like, Brandt Gate has a card that they have an order card that came out in set 1 that does what this card's trying to do, but better. Because it's on place, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. While this card is technically free, draw a card, discard a card. But you're going -1 because you played the order. Technically, I guess you could argue that you're not going -1 because the order stays on field, but I don't understand why they just couldn't make this ability draw card. Like, they could have made it Soul Blast 1 for everything and made the ability draw card and would be way more playable than it is right now, which kind of sucks because I believe this is the only experiment card that Ava has access to right now, so they kind of have to play this card at 4. Wow. This by itself just kind of kills the deck. This is a really bad card. Poopy that you have to play, which really sucks. Grade 2 of the ride line for Ava. Smooth research progress Ava. Auto. When this unit is placed by riding from an afternoon nap regardless of the place Ava, search your deck for up to 1 research card, put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then it has glitter and ride line card. It searches your order. There's really nothing much to talk about here. Auto include for the Ava deck. This card's a very interesting card that a bunch of Brandt Gate decks can play. Aiding Monster Techian. Its auto ability is when this card is discarded from your hand during your turn, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 set order from among them, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So this can combo with your experiment card so that you don't nag, but that deck only plays 1 order, so you're likely to whiff. This is way better in Orphist, or Gravidia, but it works really better with Orphis Regis because Regis's cost is a discard. This will get you a deck thin before your drive checks, which is really nice. So yeah, playable card most definitely, but until Ava gets more experiment cards, it's just way better in Orphist. And then we have Obligating Monster Secondal. Auto, when it's placed on rear guard, choose up to one non-trigger unit from your drop zone, put it on the bottom of your deck. If you put a grade 3 or greater card, Soul Blast 3, draw a card. That's a very interesting effect. Oh, it could stop a deck out. It could recycle Persona Rides. It could recycle anything as long as it's non-trigger. Not a bad card. I don't like the Soul Blast 3 attached to it to draw a card. That could be kind of hard, because there's a lot of cards in Brandt Gate that Soul Blast. But definitely not a bad card at all. You could see some niche play, maybe in the future. Then they have this grade 2, Continuous Rearguard. If your order zone has a set order, it gets boost. Trash. I mean, it's not a bad card, but there's so many grade 2s that already get boost. Like, Prison already has a way better one. I'm pretty sure all you need is a Seraph Vanguard. It gets boost and can intercept from the back row. Like, Bushy, if you're gonna give grade 2s boost, let them intercept from the back row. Like, make the card playable, is all I'm saying. And then we have another one of the 9Ks. When it intercepts, if your order zone has 2 or more cards, it gets plus 10k shield team in that battle. We already talked about why these cards are bad. 9k base. That's all I gotta say. And then AID 9 volt. Auto rear guard. When this unit boosts, if your order zone has 2 or more cards, count plus 1, it gets plus 10k team in that battle. Also includes your opponent's cards. Huh? When this unit boosts, if your order zone has 2 or more cards. Oh, they worded it like that so Prison could use it. Oh yeah. So definitely a playable card. Tricky to use because almost every Brandt Gate deck is in some shape or form counterblast heavy. Maybe Ava's not that counterblast heavy, and this is most likely for Ava. But definitely playable in every Brandt Gate deck. The grade 1 of Ava, an afternoon nap regardless of the place, Ava, auto when placed by writing one who craves knowledge, Ava, so you have to, you have to run the grade 0 Ava. Search your deck for up to 1 research card, put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Okay, so the ride line guarantees you 2 research cards right off the bat, and you need 3 to get the ball rolling, so you can start binding your opponent's cards. What does Ava require? How many to search? Look at the cards from the top of your deck, equals the number of research cards, and then auto. So what's the issue here? I mean, the research cards are bad. That's the issue. You could stack your deck. Oh no. I thought it needed like multiple research cards, but your ride line gets you 2. I'm confused, but whatever. Grade 1, 7k, auto rear guard. During your turn, this unit gets power plus 2k for each of your set orders in your order zone. I guess you could play this in Orphist. There's better cards. They have a card that gives 5k for every time you retire one of your units, and it's an 8k. This is a 7k. That's really what kills it. The grade 1 for Ava, you have to play that. And then again, we're just going through the hollows. Let me make sure there's nothing I missed. No, there's no promo, not promos. There's no like anything else here. They're just hollows. Going on to Keter. Keter got quite a few decks this set. Phantom Blaster Overlord. Continuous Vanguard Circle. If your soul has a Phantom Blaster Dragon, This unit gets critical +1. And then auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, cost. Retire 2 of your rears, choose a Blaster Dark from your soul or drop zone, call it the rear guard. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, that called unit and this unit get +10k to the end of turn. A very good effect. The fact that it's sitting base with a crit, if you have the PBD in soul, and it gives you an extra attack, and it gives your Vanguard power, and the unit you called power on top of that, the Blaster Dark is going to swing 25 by itself, 35 if you Persona Road, not counting triggers. Your Vanguard's going to be 23, 33 with Persona Ride. Very excellent card. Definitely makes the deck playable now. Like, I love the deck. I like PVD is the reason why I picked up Keter in the first place. The deck can deck thin like crazy, but it didn't have anything else outside of that. Because PVD's effect is but it really sucks because you have to retire 3 to retire 2 of your opponent's rear guards, and that sucks. And you can't even spam it either. But this definitely breaks the deck into playable into the playable scene. Getting into Majesty Lord Blaster. Continuous Vanguard Circle. If your soul has a Blaster Blade and a Blaster Dark, this unit gets power +2k and 1 critical. Active on both players' turns. And then auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, perform all the following only once. You can only choose to perform only one. Sorry guys, it's kind of late at night when I'm doing this. Cost. Put a Blaster Blade from your rear guard into your soul, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. I'm so confused. You can choose to perform only. Oh, you could choose to only perform one. Okay. Yeah, because they're costs. So if you put Blaster Blade into your soul from rear, you pop one of your opponent's rears. If you put Blaster Dark from your soul in the rear, it gets +1 drive. Solid, definitely playable in my opinion. Keter has like a very large pool of cards, playable cards, if we're like talking just outside of the grade 3s. So yeah, like Majesty Lord Blaster, it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but you know, it bobs, it weaves, at least in my opinion. And then moving on to Blaster Blade. This unit's ability is auto. When placed on Vanguard, +1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you did not retire, draw a card. When this is placed on rear guard, cost +1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rears and retire it. Damn, I didn't know this was. Oh no, okay, that is a rear guard ability, so it does have a rear guard ability. Okay. Yeah, because you have to play multiples in the deck. Solid effects, obviously an auto include, not much to say here. Skull Witch Namain. This one is you can only activate this, its second ability. If your Vanguard's clan is only Shadow Paladin, you can only activate the second ability. Its first is continuous on rear guard. During your turn, if you have Vanguard with Blaster in its current name, it gets +5k power. And it's a 5k base. And its auto ability is when it's placed on rear guard, if your Vanguard's clan is only Shadow Paladin, cost +1, put a card from your hand to your soul, draw 2 cards. Extremely good card, like leaps the PBD deck, or PBO deck now I guess, into playability so hard. And the fact that you could just tuck PBD into soul if you're just starting from PBO from the get-go, extremely good. No complaints here. Very playable card. They restricted it this way. They really had to, or every Keter deck would play this card. And then we are going into Stoicheia support. One who walks the path of light, Stoicheia. Continuous ability. The normal ride from hand of a unit with Stoicheia and its different card name from this unit is also considered Persona Ride. Nice. Act Vanguard once per turn. Cost +1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 2 or less unit from among them. Call it to rear guard. Shuffle your deck. If one who blossoms in the darkness Stoicheia is in your soul, call 2 instead of 1. And then it has auto VG. At the end of the battle this unit attacked. If this unit was placed by riding from one who blossoms in the dark to Gray this turn, cost, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your rear guards, and stand it. And then glitter, seeking the fire regalias. Yeah, extremely good. I love the new mechanic of like the cross persona ride, the dual persona rides. That very good. Again, not really fleshed out that much, but I expect that this is the first wave of support. But you could just use generic Keter good stuff and be fine. Turn like on turn 3 you're not going to have more than 3 attacks normally, but turn 4 onward you're going to be doing solid with 4 attacks. So yeah, very good card. And then we have one who blossoms in the dark Thagrea, continuous the normal ride from a unit of Thagrea from your hand. Its different card name also becomes persona ride. And then it's act, Vanguard Circle, once per turn, costs. Retire 2 of your grade 2 or less rear guards. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. If one who walks the path of light Thagrea is in your soul, retire all your opponent's rear guards in the same column as the chosen unit. So it gets around can't be chosen abilities unless you're Magnolia and it's the whole column that can't be chosen, but it gets around can't be chosen abilities of the specified unit. And then it has auto Vanguard Circle once per turn. At the end of battle, this unit attacked. If this unit is placed by riding from one who walks the path of light through Gare this turn, cost Counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, stand this unit, and it gets drive -1 until the end of turn. And then it has glitter. Again, very solid deck, very solid card. Turn 4 onwards, you're gonna get 4 attacks no matter what, as long as you keep flip riding the 2 grade 3s. Yeah, again, not completely fleshed out, but I definitely strong enough to be a playable contender in my opinion. And then we got the Upskupid Knight. Knight of Blackness, Scupidied. This is the support card for Ava. Auto Rearguard. When this unit attacks, if your order zone has a set order, this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of that battle. If it has 3 or more, so this is why you want to have 3 or more. Okay, I was wondering, where was the card that said you wanted 3 or more? If you have 3 or more set orders, it gets plus 10 instead of the plus 5. Sorry, guys. And then Glitter Ava, its ability is auto. When placed on a rearguard by a card's ability, if your order zone has 3 or more research cards, it gets critical +1 until the end of turn. And then it has continuous rearguard / guardian circle. It gets intercept and shield plus 10k. Not bad. Okay, so that makes that grade 1. Yeah. That makes the grade 1 for Brandt Gate. That puts this back on the bottom of your deck. You can recycle your Upskupid Knights. Oh, wow. Very nice. Definitely, the deck is definitely lacking in the speed department, but in terms of recursive plays, yeah, it's there. You have to get the 3 research cards, and you only have 1. You search 2, but you're not guaranteed to get the last one. But you run the searcher, but the searcher kind of sucks that you already took 2 out of your deck, so you're searching top 5 for 2 cards in your deck. So the deck is missing more research cards. Let me just put it like that. But definitely not a bad card at all. Knight of Protective Spear Arthen. Its ability is continuous, front row rearguard circle. All your rearguards with different card names from this unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. And then auto rearguard. When this unit attacks, if your persona word this turn, it gets 5k until the end of turn. This ability does stack. If it is restood, it'll get an additional 5k, just like Alden. Its first ability, I am not a fan of at all, because most control decks, if they're just able to target this guy first, and then as soon as they remove him from the board, it's like open season that they could just retire, or they could just suck into soul whatever else they want. So not a bad card at all. I just wish its first ability was better. I wish if it had it said something along the lines of, if this unit's in the front row rearguard circle, all your other, I guess, like all your units with different card names can't be chosen. I'm not sure. All your rear guards with different card names can't be chosen, or something like that. But not a bad card. Could have been better. Is it playable? Probably. I just don't like it personally. And then Majesty Lord Blaster support, or technically generic Keter support, because any deck can use this. Knight of Loyalty, Bedivere. How many times are they gonna remake you guys? Auto, when this unit is placed on rear guard, circle from hand. If your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, cost Caramel One, Soul Blast 1. Search your deck for the one Knight of Friendship K, call it to rear guard in the same column as this unit, and shuffle your deck. Not bad. Wish it could call out more than just K, but then obviously that would be very strong and very abusable in every Keter deck. I could see PBO playing this as well, just because it's just a free pop too. It's a free column. Definitely a solid card. Life-Saving Angel Degreal. Auto back row. If your other unit in the same column as this unit stood from a card's effect, you may return this to your hand. If it gained more shield, this would be way more valuable for, I guess, restand plays, because you could boost with it first and then return it to your hand. I don't know about this card. I'm not really impressed by this card at all. It definitely could have been better. It definitely could have not taken up a double rare slot. And then you have Prohibited Sight Witch Uramis. Its ability is when this unit is retired from your rear guard by the effect of your Vanguard with Blaster in its card name, so this is Blaster support. Cost Soul Blast 2, choose on your opponent's rear guards, and retire it. An ability like this, I really feel like it shouldn't have been Soul Blast 2, even though the deck does build up quite a bit of soul. I just feel like it's too much of a FA cost for what the card does, and I definitely think it shouldn't have taken a double rare slot. This is, for an ability like this, I feel like is a rare at most. And then Knight of Friendship K. It has continuous regard circle. During the battle, this unit boosted Knight of Loyalty Bedivere, it gets +5. So Bedivere and K make a nice 23k column. K. And then the heal, same abilities, other heals. There's really nothing else to talk about. The grade 2 for Thagreia, Harsh Training Thagreia. Auto, when this unit's rode upon by a grade 3 Thagreia in its card name, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to one card with Thagreia or Maple in its card name from among them, reveal it, put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Obviously, an auto include for the ride line, but very solid. I wish it was top 7 instead of top 5, but that's just me, little minor nitpicking, but very solid ability. And then Knight of Sprite Frida. Auto, when this unit is placed on rear guard during your main phase, if your Vanguard with Blaster in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose a grade 2 or less unit with Blaster in its card name from among them, call it to R, shuffle your deck, and if you call it, choose a card from your hand and discard it. Why did it have to have the discard? This is so close to being a good card. And it just, like, they had to make it, like, fair, I guess, but, like, you could also, like, whiff the search. I don't know. It's not a bad card. I just feel like it was overbalanced. Like, maybe make an ability like this a CB1 Soul Blast 1, and then it becomes fair without the discard. And then we have our reprint. I think this is the first reprint in all of Overdress outside of triggers. Yeah, I think so. Like, in a main set, like, this is the first reprint. Blaster Dark. Its ability is auto when this unit is placed on Vanguard or rear guard. Cost Caramel Someone, retire one of your rear guards, and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And this unit gets +1 drive until the end of turn. Continues rear guard during your turn. If your rear guard was retired this turn, this unit gets +5k power. Really solid, not just in its ride line, but outside of its own ride line, for the simple fact that it works really well with the Keter over trigger, because if you use this ability on rear guard, it pluses to its normal drive checks that it would have. So normally it would have 1 drive check, but if you use its ability, it has 2. So if you check the Keter over trigger, you'll be doing 2 drive checks instead of 1 normally. So it has synergy there. If you pop the card, which is not hard to achieve in any Keter strategy, it just gets the free 5k during your turn. So very solid card all around. In max 4 copies in the probably in the Overlord deck and in the Majesty deck. Emergency Refill Angel. When these is placed on rear guard, cost Soul Blast 1, it gets plus 2k penalty on the turn for all your other units. Not bad at all. If you have a full field, this is an 18k attacker, 18k booster. Even if you don't have a full field, if you like just have 3 other units, that's a plus 6. So it's a 14k booster. You put a 10k in front of it, that's 24. You put, what else you can put in front of it? I think if you could put an 8k, no, that's just 22. But if you at least put an 8k in front of it, it's 10k in front of it, it's making magic numbers. So not a bad card at all. It might not see its time in the sun quite yet, but quite possibly a card this generic for in Keter, there's probably quite a few strategies that do spam the field, if not they're already here already, where a card like this can be seen as great early game value. Little Sage Marin, oh, Little Sage Marin is so good. When this unit is rode upon by the grade 2 of Blaster in its card name, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 2 with Blaster in its card name from among them, reveal it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you did not reveal, choose a Wingle Brave from your soul and you may call it to R. Then it has continuous rear guard during your turn. If you have 3 more units, this unit gets plus 10k. Or no, plus 2k, sorry. Very solid card. The fact even if you whiff the search, you still get something. You get a booster for free. Marin is very good, at least in the ride line. Very good. No complaints from Marin. Our first order for Keter, bravery to stand against the will to pierce through. Play this with cost. Counterblast 1. If you have Vanguard of Blaster in its name, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 card of Blaster in its name, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Not bad. For the Blaster decks, it's just extra copies of your Blaster grade 2s. Nothing to really write home about. You could actually get away with not playing this card at all. Yeah. Moving on to the rest of the commons, Kindlelight Dragon, auto rearguard once per turn. When it's stood by a card's ability, it gets plus 5 until the end of the turn. So if it restood, he becomes 18 by itself, 28 with Persona Ride, not counting triggers. Not a bad card. Probably better cards to run though. Gigantic Beater, auto rearguard circle. When this unit attacks, if you have Vanguard of Blaster, this gets plus 5 to the end of that battle. An 18k beater by itself. It has beater in its name. Probably better cards to run in the Blaster decks though. Knight of Clear Sight of Argus. Act. Rearguard circle once per turn. Cost Counterblast 2. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 card from among them. Call it to rearguard and put the rest on the top of your deck in any order. It's a +1 and it lets you scry, or if it's 2 triggers, it just lets you scry. So it's really not a bad card at all. I just hate the CB2 cost, but then again, for what this card does, the CB2 cost is probably very necessary because there are no other restrictions on this card. This is a very generic card. And then Divine Sister Saint Honoro. Auto rearguard. When this unit attacks, cost Soul Blast 1, reveal a normal unit from your hand, put on one your deck, and draw a card. It's not a bad card per se, but I don't like, it feels slow to me. It feels like we're past the point of cards like this are playable. I could be wrong, but outside of like a niche combo, cards like this aren't really playable right now. And then Knight of Fearlessness Rikidus. Continuous rearguard. If you wrote a grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 5 for the turn. During your turn. Yeah, during your turn. Oh no, it just says this turn. So if you wrote a grade 3 or greater during your opponent's turn, it becomes 15. And then Ample Scatter Angel auto. When this unit intercepts, you're damaged on 3 or more cards. It gets plus 10k shield to that battle. Again, 9k. Again, you only get the extra shield when you intercept. Poopy, bad. Knight of Old Animosity Calm Loss. When this unit attacks, if your rearguard was retired by your Vanguard's ability this turn, cost Soul Blast 1. This unit gets plus 10k power until the end of that battle. Oh, not bad. I don't like the soul cost. I believe they already have a grade 2 that if you retire 2 or more, it already gets 10k for free. So, this card feels kind of pack filler-esque, but I guess you have more copies of a card like that. Ornilingus Lion. I hate this card. I hate this card so much. It's a grade 1. Auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard other by the effect of Ornilingus Lion, if you persona this turn, cost counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as this, call it to rearguard at rest, and shuffle your deck. It calls it at rest, and you can only use this ability if you persona ride, which means you're playing at least 2 copies of a card that's only active on turn 4 and onwards. I really hate Ornilingus. And that's if you see Persona Ride, because not every deck in Keter can search Persona Ride. I really hate Ornilingus Line. It's not a bad card in theory, but for me personally, in practice, atrocious. Beneath the Brilliant Light Thagrea for the ride line. Auto, when it's rode upon by Harsh Training Thagrea, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a grade 2 or less unit, you may call it to rearguard at rest. If you did not call, it just stays on top of your deck. So if it's a trigger, just keep it there. Grade 3 or greater, you keep it there. Even if it's a grade 2 or less, you could just keep it there. You don't have to call it. And then it has Glitter, obviously an auto include, but good card. This is one of the grade 1s that gain 5k shield and 2k power. Its stipulation is rearguard Guardian Circle. If your soul has 2 or more cards with Blaster in their different card names, it gets plus 2k and 5k shield. Bad because of the stats. Bad because it can't intercept from the back row. And then Winglebrave, you have to play this in that ride line. Knights of Integrity Thagrea, you don't have to play this in that ride line. And these are just the hollow cards, I believe. Yes, 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 yes. These are just the hollow cards. I need to check. Oh, wow. That art just looks so sick. Yeah, these are just the hollow cards. All right, on to the last nation, Stoicheia. For one's precious thing, Roroa. Its ability is Act Vanguard once per turn. Cost Soul Blast 1. Call up to 3 plant tokens to rearguard. Plant tokens are grade 0, 5k power, 1 critical, and half boost. And then Auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, costs retire 1 or more of your token units, and this unit gets plus 5k power into the end of that battle for each unit retired. And then it has Glitter. Not a bad ability at all. The first ability feeds into the second ability. So your Vanguard's at least swinging for plus 15k power, so it's 28k by itself. But then again, you will also want to retire rear guards for Momosuke's ability, but you have a grade 1 and grade 2 that generate more plant tokens. So it can be like stipulated. And then you have Atrocious Moth Girl Maple. This card is crack. Auto Drop Zone. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed during your ride phase, if you do not have a unit with Maple in its card name, you may call this to rearguard. If 2 or more copies of this card are in your drop zone, you can only call 1. So you can only resolve 1 Maple in the drop zone if you don't have a Maple on the field. Very solid. And its Glitter Thagrea ability is auto rearguard. While this unit attacked, cost Soul Blast to 1 or more cards. Choose a card from your soul with the same grade as the sum of the grades of the card's Soul Blast for this cost. Put it into your hand, and then Maple goes to Soul. This toolbox is anything you want out of Soul for Thagrea. That is just so cool that Thagrea has that toolbox option. Obviously, it lets you recycle your Persona rides, recycle any other card you want in your deck, PGs, triggers, the list goes on. Very extremely good card in Thagrea. Free card in any other deck. Prod Pollen Reflucus. This unit's ability is auto. Oh, it's a 9k. Why? Why would they do that? Auto. When this unit's placed on rearguard, Caramblast 1, and call up to 2 plant tokens to rearguard. Again, this is just fodder for your grade 3, fodder for Momosuke. I believe the grade 3 can only retire plant tokens, but Momosuke can retire anything, I believe. So she doesn't make sexy numbers, so you could just retire her to your Fire Dragon token. And then you have Adhesive Thread Monster Astiki. Act rearguard circle once per turn. Caramblast 1, retire 2 of your other rearguards, draw a card. This unit gets plus 5k to the end of turn. You could retire the tokens you spammed out. This is really good in Zorga in that aspect. You could retire your dragons, get a draw off of it. It's a 13k booster or attacker. Very good, very versatile, no complaints here. The heal, I'm not going to talk about that. The world 3,000 years, 30,000 years. The world 3,000 years later, Roroa. Auto wins. Place on Vanguard. Cost. Retire one of your rearguards. Call up to 2 plant tokens to rearguard. And then it has Glitter. Very good, I guess, beat down rush plays you could do. Auto includes, so there's really not much else you say. You have to run it. Battle Siren Shizet. Or Shizet. Yeah, Shizet. Instead of shut it, or shut it, like shut your mouth. Auto rearguard circle. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, costs. Soul Blast 1, this unit gets plus 2k power until the end of that battle for each of your rested units. And yes, it includes herself. Not a bad card, but I feel, if this is meant for the Roroa deck, I feel like most of the time your field is not going to be full. Your Vanguard's most likely not going to have a booster. You're going to have Ricklady and Momosuke in one column, and then you're just gonna have another column that's gonna be like decent, like 18, 23 at most. Maybe it has place in another deck. I'm not sure. Maybe in Magnolia. Stepping Clavix Salvia. When this unit is placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can call a plant token to rearguard. Very generic. Any deck can play this, which I find is very nice. It only works on turn 3 and above, because you have to be on grade 3 or greater, but I like how generic it is, that anybody can use it. And it, it's one card that gives you another card for free. I like it. Very good. Rancor Spear Trooper. Continuous rearguard. During your turn, this unit gets plus 5k power for each order card in your bind zone. Obviously, for Zorga, there's no other deck that really binds orders besides Zorga. It's okay. I feel like the grade 3 is just better. And then moving on to Tier Knight Flache. Sorry, guys. Tier Knight Flache. Auto rearguard. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, this gets power plus 5k to end a battle for each of your tokens. And it's a 10k. And it doesn't cost anything. You just have to attack a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. Not bad. Again, I feel like your main strategy in that deck is you're not going to have many tokens on field, because you want to sack them for your Vanguard ability, and you want to sack them for Momosuke. But that's just me. Solid card, though. Not bad at all. Wildfire Brave Shooter. When auto rearguard, when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater, if it's the 4th battle that turn or more, it gets 10k through that battle. You can use this in Roroa. You could use this in Magnolia. You could use this in Flagberg, if you have the promo, ? Anyways, Awakening from Slumber Roroa. When this unit's placed by riding from Bioroid Youth Roroa, which means you have to run the grade 0, it calls up to 1 black plant token to your back row center column. So, not bad. You get 1 token off of this, and if that token lives through your opponent's turn, the ride line just pops that token for 2 more. And you can call them anywhere. So you could just make a 10k column. Like I said, not bad for rushing. Knight of Nostalgia, Marco. Auto, when it sees placed on rear guard, choose one of your green or less units and it gets plus 5k until the end of turn. Meant for the plant token deck, but we already have a card that does what this card does, but better. The Mantis card, it just gives 5k to anything, but playable, I guess, as extra copies of the Mantis card, but bad. Barroid Youth Roa, again, you have to play this card. I believe that's it. That the rest are just hollows. Atrocious Moth Girl, hollow. That's it? Yeah, that's it. The rest are just hollows. Anyways, guys, I wanted to try a different type of video. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I apologize. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Bye.